Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future. I'd like to produce a video today that addresses the relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And it's important to know and to understand that our conscious mind is only 5% of who we are. But our subconscious mind is 95% and many times more powerful than the conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is where we have our ideas, where we have our thoughts, our wishes, and our desires, where we take in information and cognitively begin to learn and understand things. The subconscious mind is a program. The subconscious mind is no respecter of positive or negative. It just absorbs something, it's programmed, and then it pushes it out into the universe, and then it becomes your reality. So when I have said in other videos that you are the operating power of your reality, that is true. But what we don't always understand, and what I didn't explain in those videos, is that we are being controlled by that 95% of us that is the subconscious mind programming. And that programming is what triggers us. It's what we feel like sabotages us because of the negative programming that's in there. Now, we can rewrite that programming to be what we do want it to be for those programs that are not serving us. However, it takes a little bit of effort and work. And with that programming, the subconscious mind is programmed, they're saying, from the moment you're born until about age 7. You're the most susceptible, where you absorb everything because you're only partially conscious at that time. It's not, you don't have as much consciousness cognitively like we do now as an adult or later on in your life. And so you're absorbing much, it's an event, a person says and does things, and you take it in, and it becomes a program. So if you've been in situations as a child where you were and inadvertently, said, oh, you could do a better job than that, right away you think you're not good enough. Right away you assume that, you take on that impression, you perceive yourself as, from that statement, I'm not good enough, or I'm not valued, or I'm not loved, from any number of situations with family, parents, school, friends, TV, anything that is out there in the outer world that you are being in contact with. So you create these, what we call belief systems or core beliefs, and then that subconscious mind, 95% of the time, is operating from those programs. And so if the programming isn't in line with what your conscious mind is wishing and desiring, then you have a conflict. And that's what we say when we're saying about you have a block or resistance. It's that block or resistance, that program in you that is running behind the scenes constantly and producing the things in your life that are showing up different than what perhaps you would like them to be. Or I will have a conscious thought that I'm going to act a certain way towards people that I love and care about. And then something triggers me, and immediately I go into the old programming, and I'm like, what happened here? And I turn out being everything opposite and saying and doing everything opposite than who I feel I really truly am, because my programming is powerful. It's powerful, and it is operating. So that's one of the reasons why we say it's so important to set intentions, because how do you rewrite those programs that are not serving you? You do it in 3 ways. And again, the information that I am following here is through some videos that I listened to with Bruce Lipton. So if you want scientific evidence and facts and demographics and all that good stuff, you need to go and listen to him, because he's the scientist. However, one of the things that we say with our intentions, you have to override the programming. How do you do that? You can do that with listening to tapes at night when you fall asleep that are repeating what you know, like I'm a millionaire. If you want to be wealthy, if you feel like you're operating out of a program that is full of lack, and I am abundance, and you listen to these. You can make your own recording, or you can, get them. They're all over the place. And listen to that and fall into that when you go into alpha, and then you go into theta. When you're into theta, into that state, that's when that's when your programming really is, most absorbed. You absorb the most. And so then you go into delta after that, and you're sound asleep. But if you're falling asleep, and that's why Neville Goddard says, a state akin to sleep. You're going into the state of alpha and then sliding almost to sleep, and then just where you're in that that wonderful place that feels so good when you're just about ready to drop off. But while you're doing that, you're thinking about, while you're in that state, you are thinking about what it is your heart's desiring, and that is being programmed into your subconscious mind. Like, oh, so she doesn't want this anymore, she wants that. And now she's telling me that she is valuable, that she is worthy, that she is victorious, and she is successful, versus all the opposite stuff that's been here for, who knows how long. So it's not a thing where you go back and blame people, you did this to me, or you go back and you try to figure out all the things that happened to you. No, you just change the thoughts, you change the belief systems, you change the programming, and you don't worry about who did what, because you're only responsible for you, okay? And you don't need to go back and blame anyone or put pressure on anything or anyone that this was, why. Nah, it doesn't matter. That's just adding more to that program. All you really need to do is change the program, and that's your responsibility. No one can do that for you. Did you absorb that programming without without being aware that you were? Sure. We do that all the time. But when you recognize a block is a resistance, when you're experiencing your resistance, well, then I got a program that is not in alignment with what my heart desires, so I need to rewrite it. And one of the ways you can do that is like the kind, thinking about, imagining your wish in a state kin to sleep, which is that theta place. And okay, so that's number one. And then number two is you can set intentions and then repeat them over and over and over and over. Repetition. And that is why we say that, when you get a negative thought, which is coming from the old programming, and that's why it is so hard to battle, because it's powerful in you. It's 95% of who you are. And you've got to recognize that the only way for that to go away, for those blocks to be gone from your life, is repetition. And I've mentioned in other videos too about, create, and this could work into number three, creating a version of you that you want to experience. You're going to repeat your intentions for number two, and you're going to say them over and over and over. You're going to make sure they match your inner conversations, so that instead of saying, something goes wrong and I do this, I immediately revert to I'm a failure. I just mess everything up. Where's that coming from? It's a program in me. And when you get that emotional that I feel right now, then you've hit the nail on the head. But my cognitive brain knows I'm very successful. I'm very capable, as all of us are. We're very powerful, but we have been dumbed down to think that we have no power and that we have to live with this programming, and we do not. And that's why I'm saying that number one is to use subliminal tapes, or just make a recording and loop it so that you hear your voice over and over and over and over again, saying what you want. Create then intentions that are constantly battling, constantly replacing is a better word, even though it feels like a battle a lot of times, replacing the negative programming that keeps showing up and causing you to trip and fall and hurt the people you love. So you want to stop doing that by changing those thoughts in the moment. Now is the time. This is the past. This stuff happened God knows when and why. And it doesn't matter. It's now it matters. And you can, you know, change all that with new intentions, with new inner conversations. And then you can create, number 3, you can create the version of you that you want to live. And that version is kind of like what the actor does. They create a character, and I've talked about this in other videos, and they portray that character with the understanding, creating in their minds what they want how they want that character to act and interact in the play with the storyline and the other characters in the play. So they know what that person's going to think and feel, and what their inner motivation is, and how they're going to interact with things, or how they're going to react, what's going to trigger them, what's going to just send them off into a euphoria. They know all of that. They've got it all down. And then they practice it. They practice their lines. They memorize their lines. They practice them. And you, as the operating power of your reality, are in control of all the other actors on the stage. It's not just that you're not bouncing off of them. They are bouncing off of you. What you're putting out, they are conforming to and reflecting back to you. And so you need to create a version, create a vision in your mind of who this person is you want to be. What does this person look like? What do they think? How do they feel about things? In every single area of your life. And then create an imaginal actor about that, where you see that person in first person, not a movie screen that you're watching yourself. It has to be in first person, you there experiencing it. This is your consciousness. You're not going to watch it. You're going to live it, okay? The only thing that we really observe and watch are our thoughts, and we catch them, and then we change it to what we do want, as opposed to that negative programming that's pushing at us. And so we've got this creative imaginal act of this person that we want to be, this new version of ourselves. We have a new version of our SP, new version of the people in our world. Whatever it is that you want to create, you create a version of that. Situations, it can be anything, your health, everything. So those things help you, those things actually do. If you stick with them, if you stay the course, then you can change your programming, and you can then totally experience being the operating power of your life. You are the operating power of your life. You can experience that. And because the programming is strong, it's 95%, and it runs on autopilot. And so you recognize it when you're triggered, when you act and do things that you're not pleased with, or situations and people show up in your world that hurt you. You know that that's been pushed down on you through your programming. And now you can change that programming by what I've already said, where you can listen to a tape that you've made or that you've bought or purchased or on YouTube, something that you want, that I am a valuable person. You can also then do all of your intentions. You can do your inner conversations. Your assumptions of people are so important. If you're assuming that they aren't going to like you, or if you're assuming that they always think that you act a certain way, then that's exactly how they're going to show up in your world. And you're going to have to put up with that until you're able to go in there through those techniques that I've just told you and rewrite that programming and take back your power. You know, when we get empowered, then it is our responsibility to be empowering to others. And it doesn't mean you wait till you're perfect and you got all your programs and blocks and resistance are all gone. No, it's you do it. You just do it all simultaneously. And now is the moment, the time. You're doing it now. You got a block, you work on it, you get rid of it, and new things start showing up in your life that you do want, and that empowers you. And as that empowers you, you might still have other things not going well in your life and other programming that is still butting up against you, and you're working on that, but you also have this empowerment that you achieved something or changed a program. You have that responsibility now to empower others, and you do that because now you're operating from a place of love. You're operating from a place of love for yourself. The biggest and the most valuable, important thing that you can do is love yourself. And out of that, it's amazing when you are able to love yourself. And you may get rushes in moments of time when you can love yourself so beautifully. And then of course you have, because of the programming, you may have other times when you don't feel that. And what you know what to do, you change your thoughts, you change your intentions, and you go back to that version of you, and you listen every night to a tape with headphones, and that is telling you, this is who I am now. This is my new version. I am lovable. I am valuable. I am worthy. I am adored by my SP, whatever it is, or I am wealthy and have hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank account. It's all in what you're choosing, what you need. But we all have a responsibility to be in a continual state of empowering ourselves, and then using, each time we're empowered, we can empower someone else. We can live in a collective state of consciously lifting and raising the conscious collective energy. And that's what makes heaven on earth. That's what makes life beautiful. And it isn't so much about the material things, or even having the SP, which is nice and wonderful and feels good, of course. And we've talked about that, where feeling good is something you can experience now with your imagination. And that's what changes programming. Change the imagination, create an imaginal act that is in opposition to the programming, that is an improvement on the programming. It is what you want the programming to be. And in time, if you keep with it, you stay that course, and subconscious mind will say, oh, this is who she is now. All right, so let's just do this. And then they, shoves it out, projects it out of you. And then you start seeing it show up in your reality. And so you are the operating power. You are empowered. And as we do that, we are literally raising the energy of the collective, the masses. The collective energy is being raised as well. Every little tiny drop makes a difference. It's a ripple that affects everything, because we are consciousness, which means we are connected to each other. And so remember that you can change your limiting beliefs, your programming, those core beliefs that are not serving you, by listening to a tape with headsets on at night that loops over and over again the things that you want to change to. Then you can also do it through your intentions and your assumptions and your inner conversations, and then creating a version and living. I hear people saying this all the time. You live from that version. You eat, drink, breathe. You just absorb that whole thing, and you become obsessed with that new version, till finally one day it's like, oh my gosh, I am that person. And that's when tears come to your eyes. And that's when the collective energy, if we could all do that, the collective energy would rise. The collective energy would be amazing, and we would be empowered. We are powerful. And if you've got anything inside of you telling you that you're not worthy, then that's you've been dumbed down. And so want to empower yourself. So go through all those processes, and as you get empowered, you can empower others. And that's what it's really all about. It's what it's all about. So if this helped you in any way, please consider coaching. That would be cool to talk with you and help you go through this process. It is valuable to have a support system, especially when we're first learning something. And also, so click the link if you like. I am offering 50% off. And remember that the greatest gift in life is to be empowered and believe in yourself and love yourself, and then use that empowerment to empower others. Blessings.